Good evening, I am Tomas Guevara Calderon, and this is the channel Rewriting the Reality. Subscribe to this channel to understand our beliefs. In today's episode number 184, we are going to examine the belief about strength and weakness. When we identify a weakness, usually what we initially generate in conjunction with that belief is creating an action which generates a damaging of a particular area of our physical body consciousness. Now, the belief that is involved in that action is that if we are generating certain types of damage to our physical body, that may be healed, so to speak, but it also renders a weakness. Like the damage generated playing soccer or any other sport. We are also expressing the belief concerning weakness, that once a weakness is expressed, it continues, and it is thereafter a point of vulnerability. That is significant, because prior to that point we had generated a strong association with strength itself. But underlying that association with strength is, in a manner of speaking, the belief of the Achilles heel, that regardless of what strength any individual expresses, we also incorporate a point of weakness. Now, the weakness is viewed as not good. It is not necessarily only associated with physical weakness. This is the reason that I express to you that we generate the consistent expressed belief which concerns weakness, the vulnerability of a weak point and the exposure of that. But in each situation, we also generate an association with different expressions that we are generating in this time framework that is associated with the belief, like the numbers of games played by soccer players. For example, Real Madrid typically plays 38 games per season in La Liga. Additionally, they reach the UEFA Champions League final, that adds 13 more games, making a total of 51 games for the season. Copa del Rey can be another 8, plus 2 for the Supercopa of Spain and the FIFA World Cup add another 2 games for a maximum of 63 for the season. To play all these games, Real Madrid can use around 30 players, the 25 officially registered plus around 5 from other divisions of the club. This meant that to win all competitions, they had to play 2 games per week. Therefore, the problem is not the amount of games played, but how they prepare during the week. The doctors or physical preparers are not doing a well job, and that is due because they don't know how our body's consciousness works. Muscle cramps are quite common in soccer due to the intense physical exertion involved. Or so they believe. These cramps often occur due to factors like dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, or muscle fatigue. However, while muscle cramps are frequent, they are typically not considered serious injuries. Here is the list of the most serious injuries suffered by soccer players. Knee injuries. Anterior cruciate ligament, ACL, tears, these are among the most common and serious knee injuries, often caused by sudden stops, changes in direction, or landing awkwardly from a jump. Meniscus tears. The meniscus is a cartilage in the knee that can be torn during twisting movements or sudden impacts. Ligament sprains, injuries to the ACL, posterior cruciate ligament, PCL, medial collateral ligament, MCL, and lateral collateral ligament, LCL, can occur due to overstretching or twisting. Ankle injuries. These happen when the ligaments around the ankle are stretched or torn, often due to sudden changes in direction or landing on another player's foot. Ankle fractures, less common but more severe, these can occur from direct impact or twisting forces. Hamstring injuries, strains and tears. Hamstring injuries are common due to the explosive sprinting and sudden stops involved in soccer. These can range from mild strains to complete tears. Groin injuries, groin pulls, these occur when the muscles of the inner thigh are overstretched or torn, often due to sudden movements like sprinting or changing direction. Concussions, head injuries, concussions can result from collisions or falls, leading to symptoms like dizziness, confusion, and headaches. Shin splints, pain in the lower leg. Shin splints are caused by overuse and repetitive stress on the shin bone and the tissues attaching the muscles to the bone. Quadriceps contusions, dead legs, these are bruises to the thigh muscles, often caused by direct impact from tackles or collisions. Wrist sprains, injuries from falls. Wrist sprains can occur when players fall and use their hands to break the fall. Sports hernias, groin pain, these are tears or strains in the soft tissue of the groin, often due to intense physical activity and sudden changes in direction. Preventing these injuries involves proper training, warm-up exercises, using the right equipment, and ensuring players are in good physical condition, but usually we forget the body consciousness. Let me express to you each belief that any individual expresses incorporate many influences, not merely one, and therefore may be associated with many different types of expressions and influence of them. In this expressed belief concerning the vulnerability and exposure of a weak point, as in conjunction with a weak link, so to speak, creates a direction in which in different time frameworks if we are expressing in some manner some doubtfulness of ourselves in an association with that weakness, we also generate the physical affectingness. Last month a commentator from ESPN was saying that all players are saying that they play so many games per year, around 52 or 54 in the best leagues of the world. But none of them said anything about the millions of dollars they earn per year. Also none ever said that they will be willing to reduce their income by playing less games. Besides, from the 30 players available, only 16 can play each game. That means that not all players participate in the 63 games per season. Also, these competitions overlap over a season, making probable only one game per week. However, the cry around the world is that all soccer teams are playing too many games per season and that this is causing stress and injuries to the soccer players. This is not really truth. What happens is that the people in charge of the physical conditioning of the players don't know about the body consciousness and therefore, they exhaust the body consciousness, and this results in stress and injuries to the body. I played soccer for more than 30 years and never suffered muscle cramps, and I know how the physical trainers prepare the players. They think that they are going to run the Boston Marathon, and they exhaust the players with 6 or more trainings per week. Add the boredom of these training sessions, and you add stress to the body consciousness because you are not enjoying them. I remember that in the years 1970 you must pass the Cooper test, also known as the 12-minute run test, which was developed by Dr. Kenneth H. Cooper in the late 1960s. It's a simple yet effective way to measure an athlete's aerobic endurance. Here's how it works. Setup: the athlete runs as far as possible within 12 minutes. Measurement: the distance covered is recorded. Calculation: the distance is then used to estimate the athlete's VO2 max, maximum oxygen uptake, which is a measure of aerobic capacity. The test is straightforward and can be performed on a track or any flat surface. It was widely used in various sports, including soccer, to assess players' fitness levels. I never did it because that was a nonsense for soccer players. As a soccer player you will never reach 2 minutes running, usually you must stop the rivals in 5 or 10 meters, otherwise you will be unable to stop rival player. As you can see, we are all quite creative, therefore, we all generate these types of actions, which we consider to be logical or rational explanations. These are our beliefs, and they are absolute. Many times, you, as a soccer player, become confused and do not recognize what you are actually generating, for you are moving your attention in an assessment of thought, rather than genuinely allowing yourself to examine all of the influences of your beliefs and how they may be expressed, which are not necessarily, and I may also add for the most part, are not associated with thought. We generate actions without thinking, and we think of those actions subsequently and you attempt to evaluate with thought what you have created. But in that thinking, you also automatically replay the experience in your memory through thought, and automatically attempt to assess what you were thinking that may have generated the action. This is significant in itself, as a snare, for thought does not create our reality. It does not create, it interprets. Therefore, it does not matter what you may have been thinking in the moment, for thought is a translating mechanism. Therefore, what you were thinking concerned what you were anticipating or what you were doing, or perhaps, if you are paying attention, what you were communicating to yourself. But without a balance of all three, thought does not generally offer an accurate or a complete translation or interpretation of what you are generating and what you are actually creating. In this, as it also is objectively the seat of our beliefs in objective expression, it is clouded in association with your beliefs. These thoughts may be expressed in many different manners. It may be influencing in an expression of fatigue or anxiousness or somewhat overwhelming or even an excitement, which generates a tension in the physical body. Even excitement and laughter, humor, experiences in which you generate preferences and that you enjoy, naturally generate some concentration of tension within the physical body consciousness. Now, this energy is a type of restriction of energy. As an example, an individual may be generating an interaction in which they are presenting to themselves tremendously humorous situations, and the individual may be incorporating hearty laughter, and they shall weep in laughter. This is a natural function of releasing tension within the physical body consciousness, for extremes generate tension. I understand that most individuals incorporate a liking of what you assess to be positive extremes in happiness, in humor, in excitement, and in some anticipations, if it is associated with fun. But that no less generates a physical tension within the physical body consciousness. We do not assess it to be bad, but it is tension. The belief of weakness may be expressed and may be influenced in many, many different manners. Let me express to you, this is the reason in this time framework now that we are all addressing the belief system of truths, for truths are our absolutes, and in that, they express many, many, many influences, some of which you prefer. A belief is not merely expressed in what you assess as a negative manner. It expresses influences in positive and negative. Those are merely elements that we attach to the belief in association with duplicity, to assign different influences of it as good or bad or positive or negative. This is the reason that I express to you the identification that beliefs in themselves are neither, their influences in themselves are neither, nor may they be expressed quite similarly. It is merely your association with good or bad that generates a comfort or a discomfort, a conflict or a lack of conflict with them. Generating a fatigue within your body consciousness may not necessarily even be objectively recognized. This fatigue can be seen more easily in soccer players. Usually during the training days, they have 2 or 3 training sessions, and for a team that plays 2 games per week that is absurd, and this generates the fatigue and the reaction of the body consciousness. These absurd sessions may be considered not nurturing of yourself, not being gentle with yourself, generating expectations of yourself, pushing your energy. These are all associated with this belief concerning weakness and moving in opposition to it. What you are doing is generating actions that shall express a strength, which forces energy and that also generates tension within your physical body consciousness, and that shall be expressed. This tension shall be released in some manner. Instead, we acknowledge and recognize that we generate certain associations with certain terms. Weakness, also, for the most part, implies some expression that is unacceptable or is less attractive to us than strength. But as I have expressed many times, the nature of our physical reality, which generates our association with opposites, which are complements, is that this physical reality incorporates a duality. It is an element of its blueprint. Therefore, we express a favorable association with strength and a less favorable expression with weakness. But now, if we substitute the term weakness with vulnerability, perhaps we may allow ourselves to perceive it somewhat differently. Therefore, in generating the balance of our strengths, without forcing energy and allowing for the expressions of our vulnerability also, which is our openness, we do not push our energy or force our energy in manners in which we generate an extreme, which with soccer players is generating recurrences or repeated actions of physically affecting their body consciousness. In paying attention, we may allow ourselves to be more aware of what we are doing and what energy we are generating before we generate the extreme. Let's explain that this vulnerability, of course, is not strictly speaking a physical vulnerability. It is more of an expression of shielding our own vulnerability, rather than an expressed vulnerability. It is a shielding energy of ourselves, in which we allow ourselves an expression of some openness. We allow ourselves a considerable openness with ourselves individually. We allow ourselves to be open and examine ourselves and explore ourselves considerably, individually. But in association with other elements of our reality, our environment or our interactions, we are more shielding of that openness than we are with ourselves alone. What soccer players and their physical trainers overlook is that a team is composed of different players with different characteristics and that the purpose of the play is that each one must be a complement to the others. This is the only way that a team can succeed and win a game. The director or trainer of any team must understand that there are many beliefs concerning what they call the biotype of a soccer player. A player has the abilities or not to play soccer. We cannot manufacture a soccer player. Of course, we can help them to polish these abilities and prepare for a better performance, but not by forcing the energy. All the people involved in the preparation of soccer players must understand and talk about the energy centers, which can be visualized as balls of energy. They are not actually balls of energy, but you may visualize them in this manner. These centers of energy radiate. They are a concentration of energy that spins and that radiates energy in different directions. If you were to visually view your energy centers, which are 8, they may appear in their most concentrated points to be more likened to disks that are arranged in a line, one above another, but they radiate. Therefore, the disks, so to speak, are merely the most concentrated area of the energy, but they are all connected to each other. There is no break, so to speak, between them. Remember that we direct our bodies, therefore, we can heal our bodies using these energy centers, and the best way to do it is by moving our attention to our red energy center and our blue energy center. In this, we may incorporate visualizations in aligning them. Incorporate a visualization of your energy centers. Allow yourself to visualize and view the red energy center and the blue energy center not being in alignment, and therefore allow yourself to manipulate that energy to generate an alignment with the other energy centers. They do not move entirely independently. They are all interconnected. Also, we may also infuse the white energy center, which is outside of our physical body form, and incorporate that as a connecting element between the red and the blue to generate more of a balance with these two energy centers. Also, recognize that our red energy center is associated with our skeletal system, therefore, it is influencing of healing bones. Visualize this white as a string or a beam of light going through all your energy centers and aligning them, from top to bottom. This will enable that each shall rotate in harmony with each other, independently that each may be radiating at different rates and spinning at different rates. All our energy centers, if they are in alignment, shall all be rotating in harmony with each other. Our subjective awareness directs the body consciousness. But most people are misunderstanding it by associating it with the objective awareness communicating with the subjective awareness, which is unnecessary. The objective is continuously expressing communication to the subjective awareness, and the subjective awareness is continuously communicating with the objective awareness. They are both generating the same movement in the same time framework, they are always in harmony with each other. They merely generate different types of expressions. The subjective generates an action which is specific in association with a subject matter, so to speak. The objective generates the same action, but it creates objective imagery, which is abstract. Therefore, it incorporates many different types of expressions that may be generated in relation to the one movement that the subjective is incorporating. It is unnecessary to incorporate a method to communicate to our subjective awareness, for we are continuously communicating to our subjective awareness through our imagery, through our objective movement. Our subjective awareness is continuously communicating to the objective through our manifestations physically, through our emotions, our imagination, our inner senses, our outer senses, our intuition, our impressions, our impulses. These are all avenues of communication in which the subjective offers a communication to the objective. These communications can be used to health our body and be in better condition than running 10 kilometers daily. The objective also communicates in action, in generating imagery. That is what we project in actual physical manifestations being those that we generate outside of our physical form. To finish this episode that I am dedicating to the soccer game, let me tell you that all physicians and physical preparers or trainers need to understand how our body consciousness works in order to prepare the players for a better performance. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and remember that as you want more information, You can buy my books at Amazon.com.